Ticket Machine is the official ticket broker of Spartan Nation. No matter what you need a ticket for, border to border, coast to coast, the Ticket Machine is your ticket source. So whether you need to get into the hottest concerts, the best sporting events, you want the best seats in the house, or you just want to get in the door, when you want to go to any event that requires a ticket, anywhere, border to border, coast to coast, it's always theticketmachine.com. Theticketmachine.com, 517-655-3201. Check it out today at theticketmachine.com.
Good afternoon, everybody. First of all, I want to congratulate you. We had media days last, I guess 2 weeks ago or anything. I just want to publicly congratulate Kari Willis on his speech. I thought he talked a little bit about things that we had gone through, things that players and athletes go through on a yearly basis, I guess, and I thought he did an outstanding job. I just want to mention that. Also want to congratulate Jimmy Ray on being inducted into MSU Hall of Fame. Tremendous quarterback here, the 66 national champions, and a long, illustrious career as an NFL coach as well. So, congratulations to him. Really, before I just open up for questions, just want to reaffirm where we are at after 4 days of practice. Continue to see great leadership from our football team. Chemistry is excellent. Got a lot of players out there, a lot of young players, but a lot of players, and we're deep. So it's a challenge to get everybody reps, but ones, twos, and threes. We got some very good threes working, and it's important to get our freshmen the reps as well, see where they're at. I thought last year we sort of reaffirmed ourselves as a football program, and now we need to take another step forward, and our players are very excited about that. So I'll take some questions, and we'll sort of go from there.
Mark, Hondo Carpenter with Spartan Nation. You have a unique situation. Normally when you're this young, you get a lot of guys reps and rest guys a little bit, but even your older guys are still young. How different is that for you this season?
Well, I think, we were such a young football team last year. I think I heard that we were maybe the second youngest in the country. So we are still young. It's got a very good senior class, but it's probably a sophomore, junior dominated football team right now. So they still got to improve, they still got to grow, and early in every season, it's about getting your feet back up underneath you, making sure you go back through everything that you're putting in and those type of things, and play technique and fundamentally sound. So it takes time to get to that, but we are working a lot of guys, so the reps are cut down a little bit. But, just makes practices a little bit longer, but we're making our way through it.
Mark, this is Larry for Free Press. Can you kind of talk about what Matt Allen needs to do to seize that starting center job, and how have you divvied up those reps so far early in camp with those guys that you mentioned earlier?
Right now, Tyler Higbee and Matt probably are working with the ones and the twos. David Buter's been, a surprise. He's a freshman, redshirt freshman, and then you've got David Beagle messing around in there a little bit as well. So we'll see how he's coming. But really, it's Higbee and Matt, and Higbee's got a little bit more experience. We'll see how Matt does. What he has to do is not make mistakes, play at the point of attack, which is difficult to do at times. We've got good defensive players as well, but they just got to continue to grade out the best, and we'll make a decision as camp goes throughout the process. But he's still a young player, so plenty of opportunities and reps.
Coach Ryan Schuling, Great Lakes Divide. With the events at Ohio State, it's raising a lot of questions. What is your personal policy on domestic violence, the protocols that you follow? What is to be expected of you as a head coach? How do you handle that?
Well, as a head football coach, first of all, there's there's protocol, who reports to us and who we report to, I guess is what I'd say. Obviously if we hear about something, then we're going to report it up the chain, and then if it goes the other direction, it will come up towards us if we don't know about it. My position on it is the problem in society. I talked about that the other day, and something that cannot be tolerated, and so but it's inappropriate for me to talk about anything down the road there. So but my policy is if that happens, then we're going to separate them from the football program immediately, and if we know, and then let things sort itself out, see what happens.
Mark, you had what would, Graham Couch, you mentioned State Journal, you had what would probably constitute as a very good team last year, obviously throughout. What to you separates good from great? And you've seen 2013 when you probably had that yourself. Where does this group, when you look at it, have to be there?
Well, I think last year's football team was very similar to 13's, and we're going to find out if this one is similar to 14, really. Because 13, if you remember back 5 years ago, it grew. You know, who was the quarterback coming out of the first 3 games? You know, who was going to be our tailback? You know, who exactly? You know, Jeremy Langford was back. I think we had 12 returning carries, maybe our entire running back situation. So our wide receiver situation was unsettled, and we just got better progressively. And I thought that's what we did last year. We got better progressively, and you know, all of a sudden now we had a lot of experience back, and 14 took off, and we had a very good football team in 14. You know, we struggled. You know, lost I guess 2 games. Is that right? So you know, we were ahead in both those football games. So we're going to see if we can rise to that occasion and compete. But it's just I think this is a week-by-week type situation here. I challenge our players to stay in the moment, stay focused on what we have to do. First game up is Utah State. That's where our main focus is, and then we'll take it from there. So, but the reality of the situation is we're just beginning our camp, what we call first phase, and so our focus is on getting better, getting reps, staying healthy, understanding the things we're putting in, understanding the new things we're putting in, and just trying to stay on task.
Mark? Matt Sharp, Detroit News. A lot of attention on Brian last year and the big year he had, his first full year as a starter, but what does he need to do to kind of continue that progress? What are the specific things he's working on to improve to become, I guess, that elite quarterback at this level?
Well, I think first of all, last year was first year really as a starter of the entire season. He got some experience the year before. He did start a couple games, or I know one for sure, but maybe a couple. Played a little bit in 4 games. But I thought he sort of took off, and again, much like I just talked about, he got better and better as the season went. I think what he had to improve on is knowing where to go with the football, his reads, being consistent with that, and then also a little bit of patience. He got out of the pocket, he made things happen. I mean, I think that's the beauty of it. He can create. I like his leadership style. I like how he handles himself in tough situations. He doesn't take himself too seriously at times, which I think is a good thing. And if he has a bad play, he can let it go, and he can line back up and go again. Our players believe in him totally, you know, they've propped him up there in a good place, I think, and I think it gives us a chance to win every time he takes a snap.
Going back to what you were talking about, the 13 comparisons, that defense that could overwhelm people at times, where did that begin? So if a defense is going to get to that point for you, was that having those 2 corners? Was it something in the middle of the point of attack? When you look at what allowed that to happen, what was it?
Well, I think first of all, he played outstanding in 2012, so we had a lot of experience coming back, and I think even when you go back to 2010 or 11, you had a lot of players just like last year. They were redshirt freshmen or true freshmen in the 2 deep. And so it's just like everything. If you're taught and you're in your 4th year and you've been taught systematically over a period of time, you're gonna play more on habit. And I think that's what we got to do. As far as structurally on our defense, I think it goes from inside out, or you can make a case outside in. You know, whether it's the corners coming inside, you got to stop the run and play well against the run. And then you know that's where it's always going to start. I think on every great defensive football team. And then you got to put them in passing situations. Obviously, the game is played in space now. There's so many RPOs and things of that nature that puts a premise on being almost like option football, being responsible for A, B, and C. When those things happen, things fall to the corners. So we've got to be good in the back end as well. I mean, that's just the nature of it these days. I think that's on every football team, on every defense. Yes. Sure.
I was just wondering, what makes Raquan Williams special both on the field and off?
Raquan? Yeah. You know, Raquan's an outstanding young man from Chicago. Has some tough situations a little bit with the loss of 2 brothers in the last couple of years. But he's got a great personality. I think our players look at him as a leader. He's been playing since he's been a redshirt freshman. he's a very good athlete. He's an outstanding basketball player, very smooth athlete. I think he's scratching the surface, really, to be quite honest with you, in terms of how good he can be. I think he's gotten much better. So I think he's poised to have a good junior season. But he can be a dominant football player. But I think he's very charismatic anyway, and can laugh at himself, has fun. Players love him.
Mark, going back to that 2013 comparison, when you have those two corners back with experience in Josiah and Justin, did they compare favorably to Trey and Darquez, or is it too early to say that right now?
I think it's both those guys are very good players and they're #1 picks, so I think it's a little bit too early to talk about that. So I guess everybody got their pen ready. Now would be a good time to say that Josiah had a situation, so he's out for probably 2 months. So, but we've got guys that can play.
Situation, is it injury related?
An injury related situation.
Thank you.
2 months or less, 2 months or more, we'll see.
On that line, do you have a guy who will be the next in line behind him?
Yeah, Josh Butler's played a lot. I've been very impressed with Caleb Gervin. Been impressed with Trey Pearson as well. Shaq Brown is another guy that is a redshirt freshman who's been impressive as well. So we'll be all right. We'll have 5 or 6, and the 2 guys who just got here, Davion Williams and Chris Jackson, are very good players. I mean, really, when you're looking at freshmen out there, you're asking yourself, how's a freshman? Where do you see their future being? Can they play at this level? Every one of those defensive backs that we talked about can play at this level. It should be very good players for us.
Mark, over here, Bob Mills from the Detroit News. Just sort of following up on the news and Josiah.
Yeah.
You talked about the difficulty this year is sustaining something. Once you reaffirmed it, as you said, you have to sustain it. Have you seen signs early in camp, all the right signs that it's sustainable, or stuff like this, an injury like this can pop up and
we lost Josiah in a non-contact injury, just non-contact, and then we also lost Dylan Alexander with a foot situation, non-contact situation, just a drill. So where can we reaffirm ourselves? Can people rise up?
Yeah, either you talk about the chemistry. Did you see signs that this team is determined to sustain it?
Yeah, last year we ended up winning 10 games, and I thought we played very well, and but we can certainly improve in so many different areas. And I've said it all along, I think our chemistry and the relationships on the football team is very, very strong right now. And they can speak a little bit more to that as they talk about it. And I think that that gets you places. That allows you to sort of regroup when things don't go so well. Allows you to forge forward when things are going well. I think that's positive.
Mark, 2 questions for you. First, though, Weston Bridges was out there working the other day in practice. I know you said he was optimistic when the pads go on tomorrow. Will he be playing?
Yes.
Okay.
He's looked good thus far.
When you look at your defenses since you've been here, Greg Jones, Max Bulla, Riley, and then now Joe Bocci, who's as good as any of them, how important in your scheme, when did you come up with the fact that so much importance would be placed on the middle linebacker?
Well, I think the middle linebacker in any defense is really your quarterback or your defense. It's a lot of times he's so responsible for getting people lined up. Joe's got experience. He can run. He can play any 3 of those positions. He can run. He's very he can adapt. Very hard worker. He's tough, strong. He's got everything that you really want. Really behind him, Byron Bulla had an excellent spring. He's worked a little bit at the money as well. Reschke comes behind that. Reschke's worked at Mike before. He's played star. He's played money. So it gives us 3 linebackers at Mike that really have game experience as we move forward. So it's a good situation for us. That's where I go back and I talk about the depth of our football team. You can look at that, and really at the linebacker position, we've got 9 players that can play for us on game day.
Mark, Jamal Stetson.
Yes.
ABC Grand Rapids. I understand it's early in fall camp. What exactly are you looking for out of your freshman running backs, specifically with Darius Jefferson?
Yeah, you're looking at who's going to be the 3rd guy or 4th guy. Who's going to be a guy that we're going to play a little bit, maybe get on special teams. But Darius is a guy that has not played running back. He's been an outstanding quarterback. but he's run the ball a lot from the quarterback position. You know, I can't remember how many thousands of yards and touchdowns he's had. There's a player of the year in the state of Michigan, and he's bigger. You know, he's about 15, 20 pounds maybe heavier than he was as a senior. He's made some good runs out there. We'll find out a little bit more tomorrow. We've progressively gone through this, and we haven't tackled yet, but I mean, you basically got to tell them don't tackle, because sometimes it's happening out there. But tomorrow we'll find out a little bit more. Elijah Collins, same type of thing. They've had some runs. They've looked good. But those guys are just learning. They're really in their second day of, you know, helmet pads, shells. So they've got a ways to come, but they're both going to be very good players for us. Again, Weston Bridges has been exciting to watch as well. He's looked good.
Rick, I wanted to go back to that good and great conversation. Tom Izzo was always challenging his teams. When I win a lot of games, you want to do something special. What is the thin line between good and great? Can you tell on August 6th if this team is ready to cross it?
You know, I think it's inches. I've always said that around here. You got to find the inches. You know, the difference between a completion and knocking the ball out is about 2 inches. The difference between overstriding on the offensive line and taking a 6-inch step is the difference between success and failure. So I think it's all across the board. Quarterback decision, throwing the ball back inside. If he scrambles, throwing the ball back across the middle, that's not good. So it's decision making and it's finding those inches. But collectively as a group, I think our guys are poised to do that. And I'm excited to watch them. They have fun with each other. And there's a great deal of competition every single day. But thus far what I've seen, whether it's been winter workouts or spring ball, our bottom line program, summer conditioning, or the beginning of fall camp, our guys enjoy being with each other. And that's the main thing that I look at. They're fun to coach. And you just look around and watch them, how they go to work. They work every day.
Coach, back here in the left,
yeah.
Joe Alicio from Wood TV in Grand Rapids. Can you speak to Kenny Willick's development and the steps he took last year, and then how far of a or how high of a ceiling is his progression this year? What can he do to get better?
Yeah, you know, Kenny is the guy who came here as a linebacker, fullback, and you know, when you watch the film, he came as a preferred walk-on. You wondered how did this guy not get a scholarship, much like Jack Conklin. And you know, I think after a year and a half, he was on scholarship. You know, he's 215 or 220 when he came here. Now he's 250 plus. So he's in a position now where he can play. He understands what to do. He plays very extremely hard, very enthusiastic, brings enthusiasm to our defense. And you know, I think the sky's the limit. You know, you can do anything. And he's a big, strong guy now. He can play at this level from the standpoint of strength. But he's a very good athlete. I don't know if he's over there or not. Where he is.
Front row to your left.
Sorry.
Sorry, I don't know if I was interrupting you. My right here, front row.
Okay. Oh, there you go.
Yep. When a running back like LJ Scott comes back, how much opportunity do you see for the second guy, whether that's Connor or whoever, and you sort of have to force that second person in there a little bit just to get some hits on them, get their feet wet a little bit when you know what LJ can bring to the table for the most part?
Yeah, you know, I mean, first of all, when he decided to come back right at the bowl game, I thought it was a big statement for a program. Obviously, it's like getting a guy that you know he's going to be your guy. It's like getting a recruit where you know he's going to be your quarterback or your tailback, much like Connor Cook when he came back. So you've got that, and now you've got to find the next guy. But you know, he's not going to play every single play. We got to keep our guys fresh. We got to have a different look. We got to have different a change of pace guy. Who that is? Connor's been very, very good. He provides a lot of different things. But then who's the next guy? Because we've had a tendency to play 2 or 3 guys. And you know, there's always injuries that we got to deal with. Guys are nicked up, things of that nature. You know, we had 3 last year. You remember, I mean, LG didn't play the Michigan game last year. He had his shoulder. You know, those things are going to happen. But we're very excited about his progress and where he's at, and excited that he's back. Should have an outstanding season.
Mark Edwardberg, ESPN. What's harder to go from where you were in 16 to coming back last year, or to now take that next step from very good to elite?
You know, I talk a lot about handling success with our football team. You know, how do you handle things when you're up? You've got to talk about how you handle things when you're down. as well. That's a part of life. I think, you know, we've experienced both. But handling success, they talk about it, really 1 of every 10 teams out there that has had success can do it again in the same type of fashion. You know, that's the odds. But we talk a lot about that. That's leadership. That's not taking yourself, that's not being entitled. That's taking things one thing at a time and focusing on the present. I've already said, I think our football team has done that thus far. We're not going to get too far ahead of ourselves. You know, I don't know the games that you guys have been at. Most of our games are tight, so we need to play.
Coach, you've talked a lot about the development physically of Cole Chewin to the left tackle, putting on weight, building strength. A lot of questions about the offensive line going into last season were answered. Now the evolution of that line with the modern game, defenses you're facing, the offense that you have, what are you looking for out of your offensive line? How does that come together?
Well, Coach Staten's done a nice job with that. We've played a lot of guys. So we probably got, you know, probably 8 guys that are capable of playing at this level and win with right now, and that's a good problem to have. So the question is, what are we looking for?
What you're looking for, cohesiveness and where Cole
Cohesiveness, understanding of defenses, the calls, pass protection, you know, be able to, you know, win at the point of attack, create seams for our offensive backs and things of that nature. You know, we run a variety of different personnel groupings and different formations and sets and movements, and et cetera. So they have to understand where they fit in all those.
Mark, Justin Rose, WXYZ TV, Hondo two-parter for you here. First one, what's your favorite part of the beginning of the season?
Well, I'd say media day.
Not talking
quite sure. No, I think really the first day is exciting. You finally get to see what the freshmen can do. You're out there with the football. You see how redshirt freshmen have progressed. You see your older players come back. See how people are intermingling with each other. And I think that's exciting to see. You get a sort of sense where you're at. And then you get into the camp and you start figuring out, okay, this guy's got to play, this guy's got to do this, or we've got to input these things, and you get into the dog days of it all. And just about when you're ready to cash it all in because you're sick and tired of doing everything, game day comes, or game week comes. So it keeps you fresh. And I think that's what college football does for all of our players. It keeps them fresh, looking forward to the next situation, next season to some extent. The next season being, you know, fall and then off time, spring ball, and those type of things. And they get an opportunity to grow.
Second part, I think I know what you're going to say, but I got to ask anyways. Have you been able to look at the totality of your time at Michigan State yet, or are you not there yet, where you can look back at the ups, the downs, and the beginning, where you are now? Have you been able to kind of step back and look yet, or are you still just too in it?
Yeah, we look back at things. I think that's natural. And Coach Tressel told me that his son Logan is going to be a senior this year, and he was a first grader when we got here. So, you know, it sort of hit me a little bit. But you know, we've got guys that stop by and see us, you know, that have played here. I was talking to Greg Jones the other day. Ashton Henderson was here, was working at Florida State in academics. And so you get a sense when you talk to guys. And, you know, Greg came in our first year, it's 2007. So that was 12 years ago when he was a freshman. So you do have to step back a little bit and say, oh, remember when. But it's a good feeling. We've accomplished some good things here. We've had a lot of great players come through here, great people, guys that are doing great things with their lives, and that's what I'm excited about.
Matt Wenzel from MLive. Only 24.5 points per game last year. Obviously, you rely a lot on your defense to win some close games. What's the ceiling for your offense, given you bring back 10 starters, you get all your receivers back, all that?
Well, we got to have more production. You know, I don't think there's any question about that as you go forward. You know, but last year, if you remember now, we had 12 catches. That's guys who caught 12 balls the whole season returning, whoever that may be. One guy might have caught 4. I think Feltman had 6 catches or something like that, 9 maybe. So that's not the case this year. We have experience coming back to the wide receiver position, a lot of experience. We have experience coming back at the quarterback. We have experience coming back at our tailback position as well. With LJ and Connor played as well last year. Our offensive line returns as well. Tight ends, so we have, as you said, 10 starters back, and other guys who have played considerably. So that's a good feeling. But with that should come more production.
You guys got time for one more. We go right over there. Rico Beer from the Spartan Beat. Mark, with the new redshirt freshman rule, is that an advantage or a disadvantage for you guys? And is there any implement that you guys have planned for using this year?
Well, I think it's an advantage for all of our players because it keeps them on course. You know, even if you're a freshman, you have to continue to progress, get stronger, understand, can't go in the tank and think you're going to be redshirt and just, you know, go through the motions. You could play them at the beginning of the year if you got ahead or if an injury, you know, happened that they were in the mix. But I think that what you'll see is you'll see guys playing at the end of the year where there may be an injury or players that progressed and they're ready to play and win for you down the stretch or in a bowl game, and you get game experience going into the next season. But we'll have some freshmen, just like every year we'll have some freshmen that travel and start to play right away, and then we'll have some other freshmen that get themselves ready. And you know, we'll have some other freshmen that redshirt the old-fashioned way. So we'll see how it all shakes out, and that depends on things game to game.
All right. Thanks, Coach.